Hello everyone. This is one of the major events for the India Trade Alliance. Curiously, it happens to be a end of year event, but for India Trade Alliance, it's the beginning of things. So today we've had Honourable Minister of Trade Todd McClay, who has been negotiating for the WTO meetings in Nairobi. Not more than about 30 hours ago, he came here straight away and he has addressed us. So we're highly honored that Minister McClay is doing his first ever address in New Zealand as the Minister of Trade for ITA, which is really great. So he will be with us later, talking to us on a one-on-one basis. And in the meantime, we also have a number of speakers and our own ITA executive members who will be addressing through the program.
The year-end meet of the Indian Trade Alliance, which took place on 22nd December, saw the attendance of many prominent politicians, businessmen and bureaucrats. The star attraction though was none other than the new addition to the John Key's cabinet, Todd McClay, who is now the Minister of Trade for New Zealand. The meet was about the reflection of work ITA has done in the past year and strategizing what needs to be done for the year 2016. Mr. Girigupta, the chairman of ITA, welcomed the invitees and spoke about the new initiative by the ITA, Indian Trade Alliance Korea, a monthly magazine bridging the gap between the businesses of India and New Zealand.
Talk of this bridge. A lot of people have talked about it for a lot of years. We wish to ensure that we create value for everyone and everyone associated with us. One such step in this direction has come from publishing of India Trade Alliance Korea. If you haven't got your copy, we have put some copies outside. Each one of you is most welcome. It will be a regular feature once in a month. The Alliance boasts of a 50+ strong membership with the energy and enthusiasm from Sunil Kaushal, Dr. Richard Worth, the Deputy Chairman, and the guidance and knowledge of Dr. Todd Mesh.
Addressing for the first time after taking up the portfolio of Trade Minister, Honourable Todd McClay spoke extensively about the proposed new trade agreement between the two countries.
So this is my very first official engagement and first speech as Minister of Trade, but India is actually of extreme importance to us for a couple of reasons. So India had 7.2% GDP growth last year. A little bit flat, some would say, but everywhere else in the world would exchange what they've got for that. By the way, almost everywhere else in the world would exchange our GDP growth in New Zealand in the last year or two in the next few years for what they have as well. Certainly Australia will. Impressively 13% increase in foreign direct investment into India. That means that market is growing, it's been investing in, it's becoming, it's taking advantage of new technologies, both for export, but particularly in as far as consumption is concerned. Two-way services are traded at $650 million, Australia, India last year. We sold $580 million worth of goods exports, and there's a lot of people in the room that are responsible for that. So there's already a great start for us in South Asia. It's our number one, most important trading market, and it's our 10th overall largest trading country or market in the world. And it's before we have an FTA. So, as the government engages more with the Indian authorities, as we continue to negotiate, and it's going to take a very long time, it will be a challenging negotiation. The challenge for all of you is to not wait for us, the government and the negotiators, to line something up. Is to forge those relationships, to make those links and to get on the trade. And particularly the India Trade Alliance, the work that you do, one of the things that we need to do is show any country of the world that we want an agreement with, a trade agreement with, why they should negotiate and agree better trade access for a little country like New Zealand, because we have very little protection at our borders, there's hardly any tariffs there at all. And the question is always asked, well, why should we bother? You're very small, you're a long way away. Well, the answer is you can negotiate a very high quality trade agreement with New Zealand very, very easily, which sets a great precedent for other negotiations with others around the world.
The High Commissioner of India in New Zealand, Mr. Sandeep Sood, spoke of the importance of India as a trade partner and hoped to see the trade agreement between the countries forged soon.
The negotiations have been ongoing and the 10th round was held in February in Delhi. It would not be in order for me to comment on the periodicity of these negotiations, and it would be equally incorrect to compare the time taken for negotiating FTAs between New Zealand and any other country to that between India and New Zealand. But we are confident that FTA will be finalized soon and that it would be beneficial to both countries.
We're privileged to have Minister Todd McLeay with us to talk on a one-on-one basis to ITA, and we present Minister McLeay. Great. How does India fit into this scheme for the first year?
Well, look, India is a very important market. Our Prime Minister is likely to pay another visit to India in 2016. I am looking to travel with him, and we'll have at least one other visit to India. It's a growing market. It's of increasing importance around the world. It's our 10th largest trading nation, but has the potential to be much more significant than that. So I'll be wanting to go and meet people and talk to them. You know, we have a lot in common when it comes to what we want to achieve trade-wise, and so we'll want to support New Zealand businesses as they're involved in India, and Indian businesses in New Zealand, as well as the ongoing trade negotiation we have with the Indian government.
That's right, but the progress has been quite tardy, so to speak. And do you think those would get accelerated now with the new government in India?
Well, that would be our hope and our desire. All trade agreements go at their own pace. Some are faster than others. Certainly, India is looking at significant interest around manufacturing and agricultural production, and so it's just a matter of us working out where areas that we have a lot in common. Often producers elsewhere in the world are fearful of New Zealand, but if you look at some of our larger producer companies, they invest significantly in overseas markets, in production in those markets, and they partner to bring innovation and to drive greater output. So I think there will be a lot of opportunity, but I'm not underestimating the size of the challenge of the negotiation. I certainly, from my part, on behalf of the New Zealand government, will be committing all the resources we need to progress the discussions over an FTA with India.
In the meantime, what would be your advice to companies both here in New Zealand and in India to jointly work together on a bilateral level? What sort of framework would you recommend for that? Something like a CER we have with Australia, closer economic relationships. Is there some such framework possible in anticipation of the FTA whenever it happens?
Yeah, well, look, many years ago, before there were trade agreements in place, companies traded with each other.
Right.
And so I think in the meantime, whilst negotiators negotiate and governments talk, the Indian and New Zealand business communities can continue to forge links, to partner, and to do more trade. And so organisations like that here today, the New Zealand India trade alliances and associations and so on, have a very, very important role to play. New Zealand is a very good place to do business, as increasingly it's easier to create companies and do business in New Zealand. In India, New Zealand is one of the easiest places to invest, to do business, one of the safest places to invest, and we're very open to overseas foreign direct investment. So I see a lot of opportunity and a lot of potential. New Zealand Trade and Enterprise, who have people on the ground in India, will continue to invest in that important market. In the meantime, our job is to bring companies together and to help them to create more trade amongst themselves.
What's your first impression of the India Trade Alliance?
Very positive. A good group of people, of important businesses, from a very wide selection of New Zealand industry and enterprise. I think that with a number of other groups that are involved in the New Zealand-India relationship, it's excellent that we have them here. I want to give them my full support and very much look forward to supporting them and seeing more of the important work that they'll help us do in India in the coming years.
Thank you very much, Minister.
Pleasure.
Last but not the least, Dr. Richard Worth, the Deputy Chairman of ITA, spoke about how ITA can help New Zealand businesses establish their bases in India.
So why is it that the India Trade Alliance has got maybe something a little bit different to offer? And I would say that the answer to that is twofold, very significantly twofold. The first is we've got networks, substantial networks, which we've established in Delhi, in Mumbai and in Hyderabad, and I hope by mid-2016 we will have established another outpost in India which will be equally significant. So those are networks available to our members. The second thing is more difficult to talk about. We have established very strong linkages with the Modi government, but more significantly perhaps those support organisations which exist in India behind the Modi government, supportive of the government of course. And I think with those networks we can deliver in a measurable way, by which I mean revenue gains for members, some real advantage.
We hope you enjoyed the proceedings at ITA's year-end function and the interview with Minister Todd McClay. Again, we are privileged to do this interview with the Minister, the first ever that he's given to the Indian media or any trade organisation since he became Minister earlier this week. He's had a very busy schedule, just flown back from Nairobi, and he was good enough to come here and talk to us. So we do hope you enjoyed the proceedings, and before we sign off, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays and a Happy New Year to you all.